Yes, I'm going to hack! No, it's my website, I cannot connect anymore! We are going to see a very important subject today. It's about cybersecurity, or more precisely about cyber defense. It happens that if you are a developer responsible for a website, the target customers can enumerate your files and download a lot of data. It is possible that either something like this happens, or something other like this happens. So here, for example, I am using Kali Linux, and in this Kali Linux machine there is different tools for penetration testing, and one of the first thing in penetration testing is to do what is called enumeration. So here I have myspector.com website, and this tool is searching for more than 4,000 different paths. All these files come from a word list, and in the same time I can use my virtual machine. Here I am connected to my virtual machine, and I see from the log of my web server all the files which are being tested by the attacker. So you see, you try to access to basket. At the beginning there is some links about administration. You see, administrate, administrative, administration, administrator, all these things are automated. So the scan is now ended, and you can see that more than 4,000 search and enumerated. He has found 10 interesting files. Suppose that I would have some admin target page, which could be secret. This tool could have found it. I am Thierry Bremard, Senior Software Engineer, and I am responsible of the myspector.com website, which is relying on the Blazor technology. We are going to just show shortly what is doing myspector. Here I just log in with my Google account, and myspector website is targeting to inspect some targets. So here, for example, I have Allianz International Bonds with the result. Here I can run what is called a trox. It is fetching in real time the target value, and you see that it extracts some data, and here I have 89.93, and it's come from the web server, remote web server, here 89.93, and the myspector.com is giving a toolkit to make some automation to inspect target data. So I have some targets where with the URI, I have some extraction modules. I have the HTML XPath in this instance with the text to number conversion. I have a checker. If the number is less, a reference value 105, then I will receive an email. So myspector.com, the goal of this website, which is designed entirely with Blazor technology, non programmed with C#, is to provide these kind of things. Unfortunately, because we must be aware of cybersecurity, we will see together important concept in ASP.NET framework. It is called the middleware, and we will apply the. So we will see in the first step the documentation of MSDN about the middleware, and apply these different steps with a code review of a middleware that I have created for myspector to protect, to act like a cyber defense, and I will call this middleware the circuit breaker middleware. So if you are already put your hand in the code of ASP.NET Core or any Blazor server, you must be aware that there is this configure method inside the startup file where you have these different invocations: use HTTPS redirection, use static files, use cookie policy, use routing. These are middleware. So let's look at the MSDN documentation, what it is displaying. So I invite you to go on the site of MSDN. A middleware is in fact one layer that is processing some requests. And in fact, you can have different middleware which are chained together. And by the way, Microsoft, you could have used a chain of responsibility design pattern, which is known on. So the idea is that you have middleware 1, and if there is a middleware 2, it will be called, etc. The idea of the circuit breaker middleware that I am going to show to you is that we are going to put a middleware at the top of the task of the stack, make some monitoring of the different requests. For example, if there is a lot of requests in a certain amount of time, let's say, for example, if there is more than 100 requests in 1 minute, for example, we will find this suspicious activity. Also, because we have this knowledge of the enumeration of different tools like Derb, we'll see there will be a little trick to ban directly someone who is looking for some specific path. And we will also see another little trick that I will show to you to be able to spot automated scanner in another way, even if it is trying to not necessarily to go on specific generic pages like admin. You will see how. The Microsoft website explains that you can create a middleware by using the app run like this and put a middleware. MSDN gives some exhaustive documentation. So you see here the different middlewares which correspond to the code. HTTPS redirection, then static files, then routing, then cores. By the way, MSDN also gives some documentation about testing a middleware. You can look at this page, set up a test server. I will not spend time about this, but just be aware that there is a framework to test the middleware, like creating a local host here. You see inside the test method, write a page middleware. Here you see that there is this huge method, app huge method with a lambda, which is changing the culture info before calling a next middleware. It is a good practice to isolate the code of the middleware inside a specific class. So here you have the example of a class, request culture middleware, which is isolating the important code with some rules. The middleware class must include a public constructor with a parameter of type request delegate. This is this one, which will be in fact the next delegate to be called. And here there is a local copy, which is then called at the end of the work. And a public method named invoke or invoke async. This method must return a task and accept the first parameter. But hey, Microsoft, you are promoting some code clean infrastructure, and you are giving me some rules. Where is the interface? I think clearly here Microsoft should have reviewed its logic to try to put some interface. Typically asking a constructor to get a specific parameter is for me not serious. You cannot ask this to customer. And now we are going to go a very critical point. Typically, an extension method is created to expose the middleware through the eApplication Builder interface. So you see that you have this class middleware, and Microsoft is asking us to put this class middleware with the extension suffix to create an extension method for the application builder. This is the technique so that you will be later on be able to call this middleware via the extension method here. Use request culture, which is in fact defined here, and which is just an extension method to inject the middleware given here. So now that we have reviewed together the MSDN documentation, let's make a code review of the circuit breaker middleware that I propose to make our cyber defense. I have the list of the different commits of MySpector so that you can see quite impressive job has been done on this website. And here I have the specific commit about the circuit breaker middleware. We will look together the different files which I have added. So let's look first at the startup method. So here you see I have app circuit breaker middleware. You remember that Microsoft says the order is important, and because we are dealing with security, I want to be the very first to see if the customer is allowed to process the end of the middleware chain. So let's look at the definition of this. Use circuit breaker. The circuit breaker is available inside the extension method, which is there, circuit middleware extension, and then I use the middleware circuit breaker middleware. So the circuit breaker middleware is defined here. And here you see that I am using a dictionary with some address entry and some address sticker. This middleware takes the next as suggested by Microsoft documentation, then the evoke async. Then it is just a basic test as the root of the middleware. If the context is broken, so if my circuit is broken, by broken I mean there was either too many requests or there is some target files which have been tried to be accessed and the user is clearly trying to hacking us by accessing this file. So if it is broken, we are going to switch in panic mode and then I will answer automatically 403, even if the target page is present. If the circuit is not broken, then I'm going to go to the next middleware and then nothing is changed. So let's look at the code of isBroken. isBroken has a HTTP context. Then I create a specific class, which is in fact an address entry, but it's like an IP. If the customer is not known, add it to my dictionary of addresses. Then I take a ticker. I check if the ticker is broken. And if not, I increment the ticker. Inside the increment method, there is something which will count the number of times it is called. And above a certain threshold, it will switch back to it will return to broken. Here, what we are dealing inside this code is clearly something related with the data rate, with the speed of pushing some requests. Typically, this will break if monitor period will be, let's say, for example, 10 seconds, and if I have a counter which reaches 1000. So if I have 1000 call in 10 seconds, then I will break. And you see that the break here just increment also the number of broken, and above a certain time that I am broken, I'm going to ban the IP address totally. And if the IP address is banned, then nothing can be done. To handle the fact that we are trying to spot someone who is trying to hacking us, there is this different list of magic URI, of magic paths. And clearly, if I spot someone who tries to access the server minus status page, I will flag its IP and ban it. But so we have just seen something about the data rate, number of requests per second. We have seen something about the target, fixed target path, which can be, which is referenced by some scanner tools. But there is a third. We have seen these two, but there is also two other things that we can add in the cyber security, in the cyber defense protocol. And these two things are about other specific target pages that we will be sure that some automated tools are also trying to scan. I am going to put some data in the robot.txt file. And in the robot.txt file, I will say that I will disallow the robot denied target. And I have nothing inside this directory, the robot denied target is clearly disallowed for any agent. And what I am going to do is that my forbidden list will also have robot denied target. So this means what? This means that if someone is trying to access this means that he has read this robot.txt, because this is clearly my creation and this is not referenced by any scanner, and I will ban it. Another trick that I have done to spot any automated scanning vulnerability is that the home page as a form with some input on the scanners, like the forms to put some different inputs and play with the submit button by putting some value like injection, SQL injection inside this form. And the way it is behaving, it is targeting with an action some remote folder, which of course do not exist, with a specific keyword, access stream. And of course, I have added this access stream inside the blacklist. And you see here the access stream is also for to strap the scanners. So 2 additional points, the robot.txt file and the magic form. And you will see the magic form. In fact, the magic form has some class for remote access. And if I look at the style, the remote access is visibility hidden. So typically, a normal user will never see this form. However, an automated script will not take in consideration the CSS style. Clearly, here I am trapping some automated scanner. And of course, because I do not want to ban Googlebot, I am putting in the robot.txt that I want Googlebot to ignore the remote, which is in fact the folder where is my trap for the other scanners. Like this. So now that the middleware has been totally implemented, we are going to test it live to see how the automated tool is going to behave. And now I have just updated the remote server in production. I have here my client, and we can see on the left the logs of the Blazor MySpector server. So I'm going to press F5 on my client to force some refresh. And you see here access to Blazor. This is the logs of my middleware. And after some time, there will be too many requests. And now look, there is a panic mode which is inside the browser, and you can see in the logs here address broke circuit for the first time. And here I have my IP address that you can have fun with if you want. And I have the list of the different files which has been accessed. And because I have a different stage to ban an IP address, the very first time is some time. Then you have another attempt after some time to be able to make some new requests. So here I am clearly blocked with a panic mode, and MySpector do not answer to me anymore. So this is the field of cyber defense. And I will try to refresh now because maybe the time is expired. So here I can more refresh one more time, and I will be, after a given amount of time, I'm following on the left when I will be blocked, broke circuit for the second time here. So I will refresh one more time, and I am again in panic mode. So if I want to look at the debugger tools to see a little better what is happening, I have a network. I want to refresh this myspector.com, and I'm trying to get the favicon also, and status code is 403 as my code indicated. With the automated scanner tool, to see when it is trying to reach a critical page, like the admin page, what is the behavior. So here you see I am back and I am allowed because I have waited enough time. So the fact that I am waiting is just reducing the bandwidth of the attacker, because the attacker must wait before making some more requests. So I am going now to launch again the Derb scanner tool. Is going. Okay, started. Here you see the different access. Access to CVS ignore, forward, HT password is accessed by the automated tools. Then token found. We have found SSH because it is inside my list, blacklist inside the code. Token found SSH in URI SSH. Banning address, access critical, try to hack pass SSH. So because the tool has tried to access this myspector.ssh, you see that I am now classified as a critical customer, so my full IP is now banned forever until the server is restarting, but I can improve this scheme by adding some persistency inside the database, and here I can do whatever I want. I cannot connect anymore to my website. To my website. No, it's my website. I cannot connect anymore. If you like this presentation, destroy the like button. There are tons of other technical videos in this channel. Have a look right now. Bye.